Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hutchinson Motorsports TV, the world's #1 streaming service. Tonight, we are back for some more Thursday night racing here with the Stars and Stripes Next Gen Series. Tonight, we got a special one. It is the season finale, the championship race here at Phoenix. Practice has concluded here. We're jumping straight into qualifying, and we got a little bit of a surprise for you tonight. I got somebody here in the booth with me. Bumping Run, Jesse Becker. How you doing, Jesse?
Doing good, man. Excited to see some fun racing here at Phoenix. Glad to be up in the booth with you for this championship race. And it's actually a pretty close battle, so it should be fun to see how that plays out tonight.
Yeah, you were looking there at the point standings before you hopped in here, and what are you thinking? Looks like a tight one between our top two.
Well, and being that this is the first race with this series, I'm with you. I don't know too much about these guys, but Josh Robinson and Dylan Grimm are looking to be the main two fighting for this thing here at the end. Robinson with 4 wins, Grimm with 6, but Grimm's back 4 points on Robinson, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can make that up tonight.
Yeah, it's been really interesting watching this season. Grimm has been racking up the wins this year, but it seems he's more of an all-or-nothing guy, while Josh Robinson's been more of this, the steady guy, always getting a good finish, not really wrecking much.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because Grimm did have the lead going into last week, but he managed to lose it. Now Robinson being ahead, we'll see if he can hold Grimm off.
Robinson, he's really pulled off some impressive wins. I believe he's won the last 2, if I'm not mistaken. But every single week, it seems like at first he's not that quick. And then about halfway through the race, he finds his way to the front and then just pulls off the wins at the end.
Well, and that's looking good for his favor. He's got momentum coming in. Qualifying right now, Chad White, quick time on the board, 27.732. Neither of our championship hopefuls with a time on the board yet.
Yeah, neither of them have hit the track even, but hey, we know you're familiar with Chad White. It's been an up and down season for him. Going into last week, he was actually leading the Tier 2 playoff race, but he had a bad wreck early on and actually, I believe, took home about a last place finish, and he's pretty much out of it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can make up any ground at all. Right now, it looks like Christian, I'm going to butcher this last name, Christian Loschen.
I've said Loschen. Nobody's corrected me. I've been saying Loschen, but who knows? Maybe you're right and I'm wrong.
Okay, we'll go with Loschen. Christian Loschen leading that Tier 2 right now. Josh Whitaker about 13 points back. It'll be a hard gap to make up. And Kyle McCoy leading the way in Tier 3 with a 10-point gap. So both of those look like they could be locked up, but there could be some changes. The main one we're watching is the overall championship.
Yeah, now, Jesse, I know you're new here to this series, but I have to ask you, do you have any Italian in your bloodline?
If I have any, it is very, very minor.
Well, that is good news, because the 54 of Andrew Hess, who just junked it, by the way, he does not like Italian, so it is good to know there's not another Italian descendant up here in the booth, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think I've got just about everything in me except Italian over there in Europe. I'm definitely very European. But I think I missed out on the Italian, so I can't do the, the Italian hands like the.
Well, that's good to know. But right now, out on the speedway, the 11, the gambling man, Tom Ogle out there. What do you think? How does that 11 car look to you, Jesse?
I'm actually loving this paint scheme. This is the first time I've set eyes on it tonight, and we've got a little Richard Petty like STP throwback, but with the White Claw. I believe he's fueled by the White Claw.
Yes, sir.
That's heard about Mr. Tom Ogle.
Yes, sir. Tom Ogle out of Wooster, Ohio. He is absolutely fueled by White Claw. It just gets him going. We're going to see what kind of lap time he can put down as Chad White continues to lead the pack so far with a 27.64 lap time.
Yeah, we've got some times in from Dylan Grimm. He's currently sitting 3rd right now. Robinson, however, not a time on the board yet.
Yep, just entered the track here. I believe he's either on his first lap now, I believe, coming through turns 3 and 4. His first lap's going to be pretty slow if that wasn't his out lap. Looks like he was there it is. Yep, so he's got all his eggs in the basket of the second lap. He went around the top the first lap, so let's see what he can do here for lap number 2.
Building some suspense for us in that Ford Mustang coming down the backstretch into 3 and 4. We're going to be seeing where he's going to start this race off from.
Yeah, and Tom Ogle actually putting down the quick time, 27.55. Boy, that's a quick time right there.
That's a lot of White Claws to get a time that quick. And as Robinson crosses the line, he's good enough for 4th. So he does get just ahead of Grimm there.
Yeah, that's impressive. If you're Robinson, all you're really worried about this race is what Dylan Grimm's doing. He's got a 4-point buffer on him. If he can just keep that 23 car behind him, he should be able to take it home here and bring in back-to-back championships. But, folks, it's official. Qualifying has ended. Quick time, the number 11 time Ogle, top of the board. And, folks, it's going to be 130 laps here around Phoenix.
Quite an endurance race, but 130 laps can last longer than you think, especially if there's some cautions that come into play. Speaking of the pole winner, Thomas Ogle, that means neither of our championship hopefuls are getting the bonus point for that. So if Robinson can stay 4 spots ahead of Grimm, maybe lead a lap or 2, it's looking good for him. But if something happens to Robinson early, he's going to have to try to battle back to hold Grimm off.
Yes, sir. It's going to be interesting how this one plays out. So let's find some suspenseful music for the background while we jump into our starting lineup coming up next here, Jesse. I hope you're ready because we got the music playing. Let's find a good one here. Hang on. Here we go. Tonight's starting lineup for your Stars and Stripes Next Gen Series season finale here at Phoenix Raceway. Hutchinson Motorsports TV, the world's #1 streaming service. Here's your starting lineup. On the front row on the inside, kicking off from the pole position, the gambling man, the number 11, Tom Ogle. 2 is outside, the 36, Chad White.
Row 2 is going to have the 15 car of Dylan Hoffman. And number 1 of our 2 championship hopefuls on the outside, Josh Robinson.
Row number 3 on the inside in the number 23 machine. He's got some ground to make up trying to bring home a championship tonight. It's Dylan Grimm. 2 is outside the number 3 machine, Christian Lostian.
Kicking off row 4 with Scott Rickard in the 05 to his outside the number 9 of Zach Kreitz.
In row number 5 on the inside, going to be the number 54, the Italian hater. It's Andrew Hess. 2 is outside the number 5, Trey Jackson.
The next row is going to have the number 7 of Kyle McCoy. His car looks like it's covered in dust, but we won't worry about that. To his outside is going to be the 44 Pepsi car of Kyle Bowling.
Row number 7 on the inside, going to be the number 69 of Ben Shepard. 2 is outside the 24, Brian Lynch.
Nate Lynch in the 25. Right behind him and to the outside of them is Gavin Sawyer in the 18.
Kicking off from the 17th position, the number 28 machine, Josh Whitaker, who is outside the 46, Jason Gratton.
And ending it off is Josh Gratton in the number 8 machine, the Chevy Camaro right there.
All right, well, there's your starting lineup. The field is set. We are bunched up, heading into turns 3 and 4 in front of a sold-out crowd. Stars and Stripes Racing League for the final time this season. We are bunched up, ready to roll. Enter in the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Heading into turn 1, looks like Ogle's got the lead while Chad White's going to roll the top and try to hang on to the second position.
Yeah, Chad White falling back a little bit. He's going to hold on to that second spot, though, and it looks like Dylan Hoffman's settling into third, but he's got the 30 car of Robinson right behind him there.
If you're the 30 of Josh Robinson, it's really about keeping your nose clean right now. He knows all he needs is a pretty good finish here, and he should be able to take home the championship, but you got to keep that nose clean and stay out of trouble.
It's got to be interesting to be in his head right now. He knows the guy he's fighting for the championship is literally right behind him at this very moment.
Yes, sir. They're bumper to bumper. And if you're Dylan Grimm, it's got to be going through your mind right now. You see the guy right in front of you. All you got to do is junk him, and then you become the Stars and Stripes Next Gen Series season number 10 champion.
I think if he did that, he'd probably start getting more booze than, 2010's Kyle Busch. So we'll see if he decides to go with that strategy or if he tries to pass him clean. He's looking to the outside right now.
Yeah, we'll see. Dylan Grimm's a pretty clean driver. He does some aggressive moves sometimes, but he never does anything egregious. But we're early on here. Once again, Jesse, we know you're new here. Stars and Stripes Next Gen Series. We have no fast repairs here, so it's just straight up racing.
At first I was a big fan of the fast repair, but now the only league I run in runs 0 fast repairs, and there's that part of your brain that says, man, if I get wrecked early and my car's destroyed, well, I'm out of the race. But then there's the other part of you that says, well, if these guys ahead of me junk it and they're destroyed, that's free position. So, it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, it definitely sucks whenever you get in the wreck without that fast repair, as Lostian was into the wall that last lap. He's probably got some damage. He smoked it. But when you're out there knowing you got no fast repairs, it really cleans up the racing in the long run.
Yeah, you've got to take care of the car. You can't just try to make a move that doesn't work and say, oh, well, I can just go fix it up. You've got to take care of it. As it looks like 23, did he get in the wall there? He's got damage.
Oh, that's not good. I must have missed it here on the camera.
Yeah, he's in the wall again. 23 at Grimm, championship hopeful.
Oh, my, there's debris flying off. His right front's missing. That's unfortunate, folks. Dylan Grimm's championship hopes are pretty much over, as once again, there are no fast repairs here in the Stars and Stripes Next Gen Series.
Oh, yeah, he sent it super hard into turn 1, and the back end went around. And he just overcorrected hard into the outside wall. He's got to put in some work to have a chance at the title now.
I just don't see it, unfortunately, with no fast repairs. I think he's toast. But looking at the standings, I mean, I know there was a big gap between, Scott Rickard, I believe, was in the third position. Is that right?
He was 23 points back from Grimm, so I don't think he can make up enough points with the drivers we have tonight to get into that second spot. But he's going to make it close.
Yeah, and looking at it, we only got 19 drivers signed in tonight, so my math shows Josh Robinson could pull off the track right now and still be your season number 10 Stars and Stripes Next Gen Series champion.
Well, maybe we can hope for some sort of miracle to make the battle entertaining to the end, but Dylan Grimm in pit road right now. His left side tire looking straight on, his right side tire was staring at the infield. Hopefully the crew can get to work. Fix that thing back up for him. Yeah,
Jesse, I'm looking at that car right now, and all I got to say about that is that car is junk. Dylan Grimm in the 23, he's done for. So up front, Tom Ogle, still your race leader, looking good, trying to get his first win of the season. Boy, it's been a season not to remember for that 11 of Tom Ogle, and he would love to pull off a win here at Phoenix.
Yeah, leading the way here early on. Kind of giving me Ross Chastain vibes from a couple years back where he wasn't in the playoff 4, but, he went out and dominated at Phoenix to finish off the season anyways. The first time in a long time the actual championship winner didn't win the race. So, hey, Ogle will probably be happy if he can come out and get a win, even if he isn't really in the fight for it.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And, it's good to see Chad White in that 36 car put up a good run early on here. Chad's had some speed this year. He's just been involved in a lot of bad luck incidents, really things that weren't his fault, just tangled up in wrecks, and it's really cost him a lot of points.
Yeah, once in a while you get into those ruts on iRacing where you feel like you're a wreck magnet. Anything bad that can happen will happen, and it will happen to you. If Chad can have a good finish after wrecking out, I believe he said last week, we'll be happy with that as well.
Yes, sir. And, for the first time I'm showing this 7 car, Kyle McCoy currently running in the 8th position. What do you think of that paint? Pretty unique, huh?
Number 7 of McCoy. It does look like it's covered in dust on my end. I'm not sure if it does for you.
Yep.
Nice little red, white, and blue scheme. Not sure what the sponsor is on there, Forvis. But it's a very clean looking paint job. I like it.
Yeah, definitely unique having the dust look here as he's working on the 54 at Hess, currently sitting in 8th. But as we look at the board, your Hutchinson Motorsports hard charger looks to be the 8 car. Josh Gratton started 19th, which is dead last. He's worked his way up to 14th. So not a lot of passing here early on, but we're just heading into lap number 14.
Yeah, there's a couple of cars out there that look like they've found the wall. Speaking of the 28 car behind him there, it looks like he might have a little bit of damage on the front end, but I'm not 100% sure. His car also looks like it's covered in dust, but that skull paint job is still looking good.
Yep, and then as we drop back and check out the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for Last, how about it? The ladies' man, his brother, Gavin Salyer, Griffin Salyer's brother, he's the ladies' man's brother, currently holding up the battle for last, sitting in the 18th position, trying to find a way around the 24, Brian Lynch.
Yeah, he's trying to get that highlighter blue snap-on Chevy to corner right, see if he can get ahead of that 24. It's a good-looking car to be in last, I must say.
Jesse, if you're out there racing right now, knowing in the back of your head you're holding up the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for Last award, how you feeling?
It's an awkward feeling because one, you're proud to just be on the Hutchinson Motorsports broadcast in the first place, but you also don't want to be the guy out there running in last. But at least if you come here, you're going to get some TV time being back there.
Yes, sir. We got to show some love to our guys in last, because it's not always about the race leader. But if it was, though, Tom Ogle would be feeling good because he's led every lap so far, and it looks like Dylan Hoffman has taken over the second place position from Chad White.
Chad falling back a little bit. Could be saving tires. He also could have burnt his stuff up. We'll have to just keep an eye on it. It looks like the 05 trying to get by as well here. Looks like he will pretty easily, but maybe not.
Yeah, it looks like he's eventually going to get around him, but Chad seems to be kind of running the top side that I don't really see other guys running. Not sure if he's just waiting for the 05 to get around him or if he's just trying out that top line.
Now, again, I'm unfamiliar with this series. Are there stage breaks at all, or is it straight up green flag racing?
No stage breaks, straight up green flag racing.
Okay, so they probably got a couple of pit stops they're going to have to take if this thing stays green. So Chad might just be trying to save that extra little bit.
Yeah, I never know how much fuel they got left, but in my opinion, I bet this would probably be a 2-stop race, I would guess. So that would put us around, 50. Yeah, I'd say around 40, 45, somewhere around there. And that's if I'm right. It could be even less. Maybe they got to do a 3-stopper.
Yeah, who knows? I imagine they don't run full fuel. Most leagues
they don't.
If they, yeah, it could be at the least. I would imagine a 2-stop race if that's the case. You could make it on one if you had a full tank, but if you don't, I imagine it's got to be at least a 2-stopper.
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you, one of the best at saving in the field is your points leader, Josh Robinson. We'll hop on board here, see if he's doing his signature hold the clutch into the corner. He's been doing that quite a bit this year. Looks like he's not worried about saving the fuel this time as he's not holding in the clutch.
Well, he might not be worried about having to save fuel when he knows that the championship's essentially locked up for him. He's just kind of on a Sunday drive at this point. He doesn't have to win. He hardly even has to finish, first or second
Jesse,
or third. He can finish almost last.
Yeah, Jesse, if this is you out there, knowing in the back of your mind, you've locked up the championship, so it doesn't even matter if you wreck. What would you do? Would you just cruise around, get to the finish, or are you going to push for that win? I mean, knowing if you wreck, it doesn't even matter.
Well, here's the thing, is Grimm still has a chance to get his car fixed and get back out there. So until I know that I could junk my car and be okay, for sure, I'm staying out there just cruising. Once I know for sure I've got it locked up, I might try to push it a little bit, see if I could finish off with some fireworks.
Yeah, Grimm, I guess he could fix his car up, but he's still on pit road right now, so he's a minimum, probably 16, 17 laps down.
Well, that's the thing. You never know what could exactly happen. Robinson could end up junking it and completely destroy his car worse.
Yep.
So
always possible.
I would just be cruising if I'm him.
And it looks like the 36 of White into the wall just a little bit. Didn't look too hard of a hit, but it definitely seems like that 36 of Chad White starting to struggle getting around the speedway.
Could have burnt his stuff up already. It's sad to see from my boy Chad, but maybe it's all part of the strategy. I doubt it though.
You never know, but we got the GOAT, the 05 Scott Rickard cruising to the third position. Scott had a good shot at the points championship himself going into last week. It was basically a 3-way tie almost heading into that race, but, Scott was involved. I believe it was a lap 1 wreck, and he brought home either a last or a second to last finish. Just absolutely murdered his championship hopes.
Yeah, it can happen so fast. You go from 7 points back, starting last week's race from the title, coming into the next week 27 points back, no realistic shot to win it. It can happen so quickly.
Yeah, most definitely. And Jesse, we once again, I know this is your first race with us, but next season, for the first time ever, Stars and Stripes for season 11, we're actually going to be rotating cars, which I believe it's going to include the new ARCA car. I know the Indy car's in there, which is different. And then I honestly can't remember. I'll have to take a look here sometime in between the broadcasts. But it's going to be 3 or 4 different car variations. Have you ever ran a league that did something like that?
The league I currently run in Gears, they go between the Gen 7 and Gen 6 Cup cars. So I wouldn't say it's nearly an extreme difference as it is running an ARCA car and then an Indy car potentially in back-to-back weeks. That would definitely be a challenge from my mind to figure out. But you're definitely becoming, almost a professional ARCA streamer at this point.
Yeah, ARCA just really seems to be taking over the iRacing world because, as you mentioned, we've got a Sunday night series, that's ARCA. We got a Wednesday night series starting up next week, actually, with the Superstar ARCA East series. And then this series is going to be occasionally running ARCA as well. So just ARCA seems to be taking over the iRacing landscape, at least what I know of it.
When a new car comes out, it does seem to be a fad for a while. It'll be interesting to see if the ARCA momentum will continue or if it will kind of die off, similar to the old ARCA car, in my opinion, kind of did. No one was really running that for many leagues that I knew of.
Yeah, most definitely. And maybe in the meantime, during the race, we'll scroll through some of these channels on the chats and find out which exact cars that is. Because as you might know, you great fans watching at home, Stars and Stripes takes quite a quick off season. We usually jump straight back in it within a month or two. So even though this is the season finale, we're not done yet because next week we're going to have a special event for you. It's going to be the Stars and Stripes Indy 500. We're going to have the Indy cars around Indianapolis next week, Thursday night, right here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV.
It will be really interesting to see how voices hold up over a 500-mile race. It will be the first one. And if you didn't know, I'm planning on joining Blake and Bruce for that one as well, so you'll get to hear me again. But it should be a great time. Hoping we get a lot of people out there, a lot of drivers for the Indy 500.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. For the first time ever, we're going to have 3 broadcasters in the booth for the Indy 500s, and we're going to need it, folks, because trust me, that is a long race and a lot of talking to do.
It is a lot of talking to do, but hopefully sharing between 3 of us makes it a little bit easier on our vocal cords the next day. I don't know about you, but I'll be glad that I don't have to work the next day because I would not be able to talk to anybody.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy as Gavin Salyer is still holding on strong to the Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last, but he's got a new challenger. Looks like Josh Gratton in the 8 car wants to take over that Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last.
Might not be the best at everything, but at least you're the best at something, and that's
Caution is out to 69. Ben Shepard just jumped you. Let's see what happened here. Jumping into your Hutchinson Motorsports replay, let's hop up to your Hutchinson Motorsports chopper cam as we watch the replay. So you got the 69 car right there on the outside. Got the 46 Jason Gratton underneath him. Let's see what happens. Coming out of the corner, 69 just kind of comes down. Yep, just comes down and junks himself, kind of. Looks like he's the only car involved, so major damage for the 69. He's going to try and get that thing fixed up.
It looks to me he just got loose there on the exit of the corner, and there just happened to be somebody right there underneath him.
Yep, so while these guys, we got our first break, we're going to take a quick side-by-side break. We're going to play some Hutchinson Motorsports patented tunes for you, go side-by-side. We'll be back here shortly. Hutchinson Motorsports TV coming back here in a jiffy. as we return back from break here, we're on heading into lap 35. Ogle wins the race off of pit road. Hoffman in second. Jesse, how you feeling about this one so far?
Ogle seems to have the car to beat so far in that White Claw Ford Mustang. It'll be interesting to see if anyone can challenge him here on this restart now that it's not Chad White up there on the front row. We'll see if the 15 car of, who is that, Dylan Hoffman, can have something for him on this restart, or if the 05 of Scott Rickard's going to make some sort of move.
Yeah, and it's definitely been interesting seeing the change. Last season here in the Stars and Stripes, we were in the trucks, and we switched over to the next gen, and you really notice a difference in some of these drivers. Ogle seemed to always be up front in those trucks, and once we jumped over to the next gen, it wasn't the case, but he seems to be looking good so far as we enter the Geico restart zone. Field is set. Green flag back in the air here, Phoenix.
Ogle must have been asleep because the 15 gets a great jump around, and he's going to lead the way in turn one here.
Yeah, it looked like a clean start for the 15. Just Ogle was struggling going. Not sure if he had a late shift or what was going on there.
Maybe it was too many White Claws.
Yeah, you never know with old Tom there. He's got the gambling addiction, although he's been working on it. But he's sitting in the second spot right now. But then again, it is possible he might have bet against himself.
It's not often in Phoenix you see the outside lane really get an advantage off of a restart, but the 15 able to jump out into the lead. Ogle holding down second, but Christian Lostian in third there. He was second on the outside, so he was able to get in front of the 05.
Yeah, and it looks like we got some battles a little bit further back in the field. Andrew Hess trying to hold off that number 9 of Zach Kreitz as they battle for the 7th position.
We've also got a battle for third here. The 05 saying that he did not want that 3 car in front of him for long. He's going to take that spot back.
Yeah, looks like Chad White got a little loose there, almost down on the apron too much, but he's going to try to get that thing going, and hopefully he can work on his long run speed, because that last run, he looked good for about 15 or 20 laps. Oh, we got one sideways in the back. Looks like we're still green for now. Never mind, they just junked it. Handful of cars involved, 2 or 3. Caution is out. The 46 of Grattan is junk. Let's see the replay. So let's jump up. Let's go to our Hutchinson Motorsports. Believe the most beautiful view in the business, folks. Here it is. All right, here's a replay. So right now we're keeping our eyes on that 46 car there underneath the 8 right now. Looks like that's brother-on-brother action right there. So let's see what happens. Going on the bow, the 8 into the wall. Oh, the 25. Yep, 25 lost it, and the 46 had nowhere to go. And then it looked like the 18 and 28 involved as well.
Yeah, 25 there got loose out of the corner and looked like he was going for like a wicked Formula Drift entry. Unfortunately, the goal is to not be that sideways here at Phoenix, and he ends up collecting some other cars.
Yep, and let's rewind it here. Watch him. Yeah, he just comes off the corner, goes down, almost saves it, comes back up, and unfortunately there's a car right in front of him waiting. So about, 5 cars briefly involved into that one. So we're going to rack them up, try it again. What do they say? They say, cautions breed cautions, I believe.
I believe that is the most said phrase when it comes to this type of racing. People get spread out. Stuff's kind of calms down. People get, put back together on a restart. They're a little overconfident because they've been by themselves for however many laps, and they forget what it's like to be around other cars.
Yeah, most definitely. While we're under caution here, let's go ahead and do an in-car interview. Let's pull up Tom Ogle, who led this race early. Kind of gave up the race lead. Let's see what Tom's thinking. Tom, Blake, and Jesse up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, you dominated this race early on, but it seemed like you kind of choked there on that last restart. What happened?
It went to go, and it wouldn't take off. I wanted to go at the end of the restart zone, but I guess it thought I should go sooner. I'm not sure what happened. It's my fault.
You know what happens, Jesse? You got anything for us?
You think you've got anything here for the 15? Starting on the outside is usually a bit of a disadvantage, but he was able to get by you there. You think you can get him back here?
I think on the long run I should be able to. Hopefully. He'll get me on the start. It's kind of a big disadvantage, but as long as I can stay in second or so, I just need a nice long run here. He was getting a little bit loose at the end of the first run.
Yeah, no, and how much would it mean to you to pull off a win here to end this next gen season number 10 here with Stars and Stripes?
And this has been a rough one, so it would mean a lot to get a win, but there's a lot of racing left too.
Yes, sir. But hey, looks like you're about to go green heading into 3 and 4. So best
Thanks,
of luck
guys.
for the rest of this one.
Yep, thank
Good
you.
luck.
Tom Ogle there in the second position as they enter turns 3 and 4. We're going to drop the hammer, go green once again.
15 looking to get a better start here than Ogle did last time. He does get a good jump. He's going to lead the way across the stripe. Ogle looks like he'll be able to hold on.
Yeah, boy, it looks like Ogle kind of struggled to get going on that start, too. Something about that car does not like those lower gears, but he is finally up and rolling.
We'll see if he can get back to that 15 and make a race for that lead. The 3 car not ready to give up on that third spot, though. He stays on the outside of the 05 coming into turn 3 here.
Yes, sir. So the 15 on Hoffman continues to lead this race, but we got the battle for third as the GOAT, Scott Rickard, trying to make a move to stay ahead of that 3 car Lawson.
Looks like he will be able to do so as they single file out here in the front of the field. First 5, 6, 7 cars look like single file.
Yeah, you know, Christian Lawson, it seemed like he was kind of struggling here most this season, but the last few weeks here, he's really turned it on right in the clutch time, and it looks like he's going to pull off a Tier 2 championship, which does have a payout.
He's able to put on a good show so far tonight. I'm pretty sure he's been in the top 5 for almost the whole race, so if he can hold that up, he should be good to go.
Yeah, you know, and that's the interesting thing about the Stars and Stripes seasons here. You know, it's not only the points championship we're worried about. There's guys racing for money throughout the whole field, including the middle of the pack and even the back.
Yeah, I've never seen something like that before. It seems to be a pretty good idea. It definitely gives people something to keep coming back for.
Yeah, most definitely. In the last lap around the speedway, Tom Ogle just put down the fastest lap of the session with a 27.68. So keep an eye on that 11 car, Tom Ogle.
Said he would get him back on the long run. Now he's running the fastest lap of the race. Which one's it going to be, Tom? You going to try to get him now or later?
Maybe it's both. Maybe he's going to have the short run and the long run speed. We're going to see what he's got for him, though, as he gets to the back bumper coming out of turns 3 and 4.
You can win with short run speed. You can win with long run speed. But if you have both, then you basically have it locked up. So we'll see what he's able to do.
Yeah, and you know, and we're looking through the field here. As you may know by now, if you guys been tuning in, the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for Last has a unique set of rules. I don't count guys with damage. None of that matters. So really, I'm looking at cars that are good to go. And right now, winning the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for Last, it's the 24, Brian Lynch.
He's definitely no Jeff Gordon, but at least he is battling for something.
Yeah, you know, and tonight there's only 19 cars made it out, which isn't a bad count, but that's actually the lowest of the season. You know, that's the unfortunate thing with these points championship battles. A lot of these guys, by the last race, they figure, what's the point of coming out?
Yeah, if you have no chance at anything, you might say, well, I guess I'm not going to show up tonight. We're not into that. We want people to come out to every race, whether you're fighting for something or not. Come have fun. Come race.
Yes, sir. As Tom Ogle right on the back bumper, knocking down the door there with Dylan Hoffman, trying to take back the race lead. Let's hop on board with the 11, Tom Ogle.
While you're on board with Ogle, we've got 3 wide going into turn 3 here between the 7, the 30, and the 54. Championship hopeful Robinson running the way high line, staying away from those 2 crazies that were trying to pass in there.
It is a hornet's nest right now, as that was a battle for, I believe, the 10th position, maybe. So Andrew Hesse starts to drop just a little bit.
Yeah, the 30 car Robinson holding down that 6th spot from the 2 cars behind him there.
Yeah, so Hess holding strong. He's sitting in a comfortable 6th position. Pretty good spot for him to just cruise around, waiting for the finish of this race so he can be crowned back-to-back Stars and Stripes champion.
Checking in on Dylan Grimm. Not sure if he's made it back out there yet or if he's still on pit road.
He is done for. I think they've towed it up, or they've loaded it up, and they're not even at the track anymore.
You know, I can't blame him. You end up out of the race that quick when you're fighting for a championship. Probably just want to throw a hoodie on, get out of there, try not to be seen, don't want to answer any questions, just head on home.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He probably, he was right on the back bumper of the 30 car, and there's probably just a lot going through his head knowing he needs to get around the 30 of Robinson and not only beat him, but needs to beat him by a few positions, and then just slipped up and got into the wall.
It only takes one mistake to change an entire race, and unfortunately for Dylan Grimm, that's exactly what happened. One slip up ruined any chance he had. Now the 30 of Robinson just driving into the sunset.
Yes, sir. And checking out the chat, we got Christian Taylor in the chat, folks. Christian's going to be in the booth with us next week here for the Stars and Stripes Indy 500. Once again, make sure you mark your calendars for that one. That's going to be the longest race ever here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV.
Just one of the many things coming to the Hutchinson Motorsports side of things to look forward to is going to be that Indy 500 next week. Definitely excited and hope that race goes well. It'll be interesting to work with Christian in the booth. He's one of my longtime friends in real life, not only online, but in real life. And I think it'll be really interesting to try to do a broadcast with three people. It's going to be hard to know when to talk, when to not talk. We'll try to figure all that out as we go along.
Yeah, we're going to be winging it on the go here as we head into lap number 54. Let's pull up your Hutchinson Motorsports pit strategy board. See how long it's been since these guys made it down pit road on that last caution. It's like it's been 20 laps here. First run was 32, so my guess is I think they're probably going to have to pit 2 more times.
There is a good chance. Again, we're not exactly sure what the fuel strategy looks like, but I can definitely talk about tires. And when you're about 20 laps in a run, you're almost at that sweet spot where the tires still feel good, but you're real close to the point where they start wearing, and your lap times are going to start slowing down. You got to worry about that a little bit.
Yeah, looking at your race leader, Dylan Hoffman, looks like he's dropped off about 4 to 5 tenths, so almost half a second. Same for Ogle, but then there's some others in the field. I'm seeing about a second fall off, so it just kind of depends how much you babied those tires.
And real quick, I'm wondering about Andrew Hess. Does his thing say ask him about his wieners on Instagram?
Yes, it does. And, I actually haven't had the chance to do that, so maybe we'll have to do that sometime.
You haven't asked him?
No, I actually have not asked him about his wieners.
Okay, well, we'll have to look into that. That's definitely interesting. I noticed that while I was looking at the screen there.
Yep. And I would almost bet it's something to do with wiener dogs, but you never know.
One would hope. One would hope.
Yeah, hopefully so, but we check out your Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last. Brian Lynch there in that slow junk number 24 Hooters right now cruising around. He's in the 13th position.
It's very interesting to see a Hendrick number with a Hendrick style paint scheme. But you already got the 9 Napa car, so you can't have the 9 Hooters car. Might as well have the 24 Hooters car.
Yeah, you may as well. Why not? As Scott Rickards still sitting in the 3rd position, trying to gain some ground, find a way around the 11 of Ogle, as Ogle seems to be actually losing a little bit of ground there to the 15 of Hoffman.
A lot of that could come down to the clean air. It doesn't have as much of an effect at a shorter track here like Phoenix, but it does have an effect nonetheless. This car just might not be able to find that cornering grip that he was able to have when he was out front.
Boy, and check out the chat there, Jesse. Do we have 2 Christian Taylors in the chat?
That does seem a little suspicious. Not sure what the deal is with that, but I won't ask questions.
And who knows, as Hoffman has about an 0.8 of a second race lead on Tom Ogle in that 11 car. Looking at his lap times, Hoffman's last lap around the speedway was a 28.37, identical to the lap before. That is only about 0.6 of a second slower than his fastest lap.
Well, consistency is key, and if you're running similar lap times back-to-back like that, consistency is definitely one of the things you have down. And consistency can win you a race. He's looking like he's trying to do that right now.
Yeah, while Christian Lawson putting together a decent run here, currently sitting in the 4th position. He's basically, I guess he could wreck, so that's not always for sure, but he's looking pretty strong for that Tier 2 championship here.
It's not as spread out towards the front as one would think it would be. The top 5, there's only about 2.5 seconds in between your top 5, so still definitely a race for this lead, but the 15 looking strong at the moment. We'll see in a couple laps if he starts falling off.
It definitely appears that way as Zach Kreitz tries to stay right there on the back bumper of the 30 car, Josh Robinson. And then we're going through the field. Let's see who we haven't talked much about. Let's take a look at the 44 Kyle Bolin, cruising mid-pack right here, sitting in the 10th spot out of Malcolm, Nebraska.
A little bit of a battle right in front of him there between, I believe that's the 5 and the 54. They're side by side. The 44 with a good view of that, as it looks like the 54 is going to hold on to that spot.
And you know, that 5-car Trey Jackson, I just can't read him. You know, there's some weeks he comes out here and he is bad fast, racing for, you know, chances at race wins. And then there's other weeks where it's just the total opposite. So you never know what's going on with that nationwide 5-car Trey Jackson.
We do have a change here up near the front of the field. The 05 of Rickard able to get by the 11 of Tom Ogle. Now he's going to try to chase down the 15.
Boy, Tom planned on having the long run speed here, but I'm getting kind of worried for him. Seems like he's dropping off a little bit quicker than these other two up front.
I do really wish I knew how far these guys could go on fuel. If it is a one-stop race from here, Ogle might be doing the right thing, saving some tires so he can get a little bit faster towards the end of the run. If it's a multi-pit stop from to the end here, I think you got to be pushing the whole time. Your tires aren't going to wear out that bad.
You know, and they're already 30 laps in here, so I mean, I'd be surprised if they just have to pit one more time, because that would mean they need to get, well, I don't know, I guess they could go about 20 more laps and make it. So we're going to find out soon. If this is a two-stop race, these guys are going to be coming down pit road any moment.
It'll be interesting to see some green flag pit stop action. That's where half the race is won on pit road, especially if you have green flag stops. It's very easy to speed. It's very easy to have a slower entry than the guy behind you, and they can make up ground the way into pit road. So there's a lot of different variables that all come together. But the 15, 1.5 seconds is the gap now to second place. So he's looking pretty good right now.
Now, Jesse, whenever you're out there racing and you know a green flag stop's coming, are you more on the aggressive side or passive side? Are you trying to gain ground going into pit road, or are you more careful trying to make sure you stay under the speed limit?
I'm trying to be more careful. I've seen many fast guys have to serve a hold, or if it's under caution, you know, take an EOL and go to the back, when they were way faster than me and I ended up finishing ahead of them because they made a mistake on pit road. So my goal is to never get a black flag for speeding or entering too fast, whatnot. I'm just trying to play conservative. I don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah, well, it's good to know, you know, there's definitely different styles out there. Some of these guys, they're trying to gain every second they can get, but it's big, high risk, high reward.
If you get too aggressive, it's too easy for it to bite you in the ass, and all of a sudden you're farther back than you would have been had you just taken your time.
Most definitely is Dylan Hoffman. You know, he started off this season, he was red hot early on in the year, running top 3 about every week. Kind of fell off a little bit, but he looks like he's finally getting it back going as he's leading here, heading into lap number 68 at Phoenix.
He was 4th in the standings coming into this race. He has a chance to maybe pass Scott Rickard for that 3rd spot in the championship standings. He was only 4 points back from the 05. Right now, though, he would actually gain 5 spots, or 5 points on Rickard if he was to win, because he gets that 40 points. Rickard would get 35 if the race was to end right now. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, Hoffman, he's got 2 wins on the season. I believe both of them came early on. He's looking for number 3 here at Phoenix.
Looking good so far. If he can stay consistent, he's in a good spot.
Yes, it's Chad White here starting to go to work as that 11 of Tom Ogle continues to fall. He's back to the 4th spot here as Chad White's working on him.
Ogle may have found what the dirty air feels like. He's definitely falling back as Chad's looking to make that pass now.
Yeah, you know, Ogle, he is ready for this car change. He admitted on the stream earlier while we interviewed him in car. He has been struggling here in the next-gen car. And once again, we're going to try to dig through the chat a little bit, see if I can find when we announced which cars we're running next season. Can't quite remember myself.
Speaking of the chat, in the YouTube chat, Christian Taylor saying he had switched accounts by mistake. So there's not 2 Christian Taylors, it's just the one. And he says that he would save his tires and then would come as late as he could.
Well, you know, one thing I know about Christian, he does not know how to save tires.
Yeah, he does not know how to save tires, and sometimes that leads to him coming a little earlier than he was looking to begin with.
Yeah, he does enjoy doing that most definitely, as Chad White finally gets around the 11, taking over the 4th spot.
A lot of changes happening, 2nd through 5th here. Chad White looking a bit faster on the long run. Dylan Hoffman doing nothing but growing his lead though, up to 2.2 seconds.
Yeah, he is a grower, not a shower. Hoffman starting to pull back 2 seconds forward to 15 Hoffman, and it appears Ogle's falling all the way back to 7th. And folks, the pain just continues as he continues to bleed back through the field.
I'm expecting pit stops here at any moment.
Yep,
We'll
pitting
see
right now
if it
would
happens.
about cut it in half here, looking at the pit strategy board. Well, 40. So they've gone 40 laps now on their tires, so I don't know, maybe they'll want to go 5 more or so.
It'll be interesting to see what are the lap times now compared to people's best laps. What's the
Well, let's take a
fall-off
look.
look
Looks like
on
your
the
race
lap then?
leader has about a second fall off, but Scott Rickard there in the 05 has 1.3 second fall off. So well over a second fall off here for these guys so far already.
It's not as much as you would see from some tracks, but it's still a decent amount. It'll be interesting to see if there is any strategy to short pitting and trying to gain a little bit of an advantage on somebody on that. And there's not a whole lot of fall off. There's some fall off, but it's not a crazy amount.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math in my head here to see what the halfway point between the finish and our when our guys pit their last. And I think it's going to be around lap 85 is going to be right around, because that's going to be about 52 laps. Well, I'd say a little less even. So I'd say 80. I'd say lap 80 or so. You'll probably start seeing most of our race leaders come down pit road.
That would only give them 50 laps to make it to the end. If we're about 40-something laps into the run now, they might have enough fuel to make it a one-stop race.
I definitely think they are,
Seems to be the
because
case.
yeah, they definitely would have came down pit road already here if they had to pit twice. So looks like it's going to be a one-stopper for these guys. And remember, 13th on back here in the field. They all pit with 36 laps ago instead of 43. So they've got a few laps extra on the tires there, but nothing big.
And Hoffman putting on a clinic right now. It's only been a handful of laps since I last pointed it out, but his lead's grown from 2.2 seconds all the way up to 2.8 now.
Yeah, and it appears here comes the cars down pit road here. Kyle Bowen in the 44, we think he was running around 10th or so, so he's going to be the first one to jump down pit road here under this green flag stop.
Hoffman not coming in this time. I'll keep an eye on the leader here to see when he comes down pit road. But he is gaining so much time on the other guys right now.
Yeah, he is killing them on the back end of these runs. If you're Hoffman, honestly, I'd probably stay out there, let the guys behind you pit, and then maybe the next lap after the last car you're concerned about pits, then you come down pit road and you should be good to go.
Yeah, if you're a short run, driver, you want to try to get tires as soon as you can, try to make up the time you're losing on the long run. But if you're good on the long run like the 15 is, you're not in any hurry to really come down pit road because you're still putting up pretty respectable laps.
And a big save there. Kyle McCoy almost junked it, I think. He's able to keep it rolling. We're still green. But if I'm Tom Ogle in that 11 car, he's been bleeding speed for the last 15 laps or so. I'd be coming down pit road this time.
Christian Taylor in the chat. Tom Ogle's fallback is strategic. He knows what he's doing.
Well, hopefully so, Christian. Christian's a big gambling man, Tom Ogle fan. As the 05 Scott Rickard, the GOAT, coming down pit road. Coming this time.
Speaking of gambling, I'm not very good at it. And so I would be playing as conservative as possible here, make it a one-stop race. If I was a gambling man, maybe think of taking 2 tires, something crazy like that. I don't think it's worth it with this long of a run, but we'll see if anyone throws some crazy strategy in there.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that would work out. But, folks, Jesse being bad at gambling is an understatement. I tell you what, this guy puts up some prayer parlays. I don't think he's ever had any of them hit.
Well, you can put up a prayer parlay or you can buy a lottery ticket. At least one of them, the way to win,
Maybe one of these days, and by big parlays, I don't think you guys are understanding. Jesse's doing these bets where it's like bet $5, win $100,000. So very unlikely he ever hits one, but if he ever does, don't forget about me, Jesse.
Man, could you imagine the production value of Hutchinson Motorsports if I won $100,000 on a parlay? It would be incredible.
Yeah, well, we can only hope here as Hoffman continues to roll. He's got a 4-second lead as Lostjen moving into the second position as Chad White and Tom Ogle coming down pit lane.
I think at this point, the 15 car, he's ran probably about 50 laps since the last pit stop. I think at this point we're secure in saying it's a one-stop race here. It'll be interesting to see how much longer he can stay out, though. If they've got plenty of fuel, and as it looks like, Josh Robinson having some trouble here with some connection issues. He is probably thanking the Lord that his opponent in the championship had those issues earlier on.
Boy, could you imagine losing the championship due to connection issue? And man, I tell you what, he was only, 4 or 5 points ahead coming in. Having those connection issues, that would have cost him the championship if Grimm didn't junk it on about lap 5 or so.
Oh, if I lost a championship because I got disconnected, it would not be good for the things that are in my vicinity at that moment.
And, you know, and are you, but Jesse, are you kind of surprised our leader's still out there? You know, if I was him, I probably would have just cut this run right in half, played it safe, because you know you got the speed to win this race.
At this point, the 15's probably thinking he's just staying out as long as he can, because he knows he'll be able to make that ground back up on the guys behind him. There's still plenty of laps left at this point to make up ground. If it was coming to 20 or 15 to go after the pit stop's done, you might want to get it done and over with. But if he pits now, he's still got over about 45 laps to make up the time on those guys. That's plenty.
You know, and honestly, it's pretty impressive. He still only got about a 1.2 second fall off from his best lap time early on. So pretty impressive here with about 53 or so laps on those tires.
The guys that have already come down pit road, their fall off was a lot more than his. Their fall off, I'm not sure, it could be 1.5 to 2 seconds. But right now they're gaining probably about, at least half a second up to possibly a second a lap on the 15.
Definitely over a second. I'm looking at lap times here. Most of them over a second, 1 to about 1.2 seconds for our top 5 before that pit cycle started.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the 15 cycles out when he does pit. Because I don't think he'll be in the lead anymore, but he's going to have way fresher tires than a lot of people.
Yeah, that was my next point. When he comes off of pit road, he's not going to be your race leader because he's been out here for a while on these older tires, but he's immediately going to have the speed on him because he's going to have those fresh tires. Should be able to cycle back quite easily, but that's only if he doesn't have any issues heading down pit road.
Yeah, that comes back to earlier what I was saying about being conservative, getting on the pit road. Imagine you're the 15, you've done everything right, you had a big lead before the pit stop cycle happened, and you throw it all away by speeding on pit road. It would not be a fun situation.
Yeah, most definitely. And I believe Scott Rickard currently in the 10th spot. He is probably your first car who has pit here in this last stop. So after the pit cycle happens, I believe that 05 probably going to be your race leader.
Rick been fast all night. He was running second before his pit stop, so he's not a stranger to the front of the field by any means, able to get by the 11 during that run. Put himself in second. He's got a pretty fast car, but will it be enough?
And, one thing to remember, our 6th place, 7th, and 8th place cars, they both pit on that last caution, which was just about 6 laps after. So they'll be coming down pit lane not too much longer after, probably once you see our race leader comes down.
Yeah, they can pretty much pit whenever they feel like it. They're 20 to 24 seconds back from Hoffman right now. In fact, he's probably almost seeing them out his windshield right now.
Yeah, if I'm them at this point, I would probably just, the cars that pit on that last stop that have 6 lap fresher tires, I'd just stay out there till it was empty, maybe do a gas and go, just try something different.
You could hope for a yellow here. I don't think it's gonna happen, but what they might be trying to do is hoping for a yellow here, maybe trap a few cars a couple laps down, get some track position the easy way. But it's been a fairly clean race so far tonight. There's been a you know, just a few yellow flags, but nothing really too crazy here at Phoenix.
As Nate Lynch was involved in that wreck early on, looks to get that 25 car rolling, sitting in the 6th spot right now. But once again, he's on an alternative pit cycle right now.
Now, you've talked before about the Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last. When you're in the middle of a pit cycle like this, how do you determine who is taking part in the battle for last?
Well, you know, it really comes down to a bunch of factors. You know, there's a lot of data that goes into it, Jesse, but a lot of times, you know, I kind of remember in the back of my head, you know, who's junked it, and then I kind of know who's maybe had a penalty coming down pit road. And right now, I know the battle for last right now is with the 24, Brian Lynch.
24 holding down not the top spot, but the bottom spot.
Yeah, you know, but he's got Andrew Hess right there in his front windshield. It's only about 0.8 seconds between the two in this battle for last.
There's a chance we could have a new last place champion there.
You know, it's really an important battle here because this is the last race of this regular season. So if you take home that battle for last, you got to live with it for quite a while.
35 laps to go. This is when you start to realize why NASCAR might have went away from the point system that they used to have. Because we're going to crown a champion tonight in Josh Robinson, who is currently 12 laps down and in 17th.
Yeah, you know, that unfortunately happens. And, you know, I honestly, you know, personally, I don't like this strategy Hoffman's doing. Why stay out so long? You know, you're just night and day better than everybody else. Doing this alternative strategy is just too risky in my mind.
Yeah, and the 05 of Rickard was able to just pass him and unlap himself. So he's already unlapped himself. He's back on the lead lap, and he's gaining nothing but time right now on the 15.
Yeah. I mean, you know, obviously the 15, he's going to have those fresher tires be way faster. Should have the speed to regain it, but it's just too risky because he's going to put himself pretty far back because he stayed out there about an extra, 15 or 20 laps already.
Absolutely. I do have to step away just for a little bit. Got to let the dog out. So I'm going to let you hold it down solo dolo for a bit, but I will be back.
10-4, we got you. So Jesse Becker heading out here. So it's just going to be me up here in the booth as we continue to watch your race leader, Dylan Hoffman, the Asheboro, North Carolina native. You know, he's had the speed. This is his race to win. But, man, I tell you what, Scott Rickard has pit about 16, 17 laps ago. So after this pit cycle, Rickard's going to have quite the lead on the 15 there, Hoffman. Seems to be a risky move staying out there because a late caution or something happens, then he's really not going to be looking too pretty. But if it stays fully green the rest of the way, he should be good to go. But my numbers still say he has not pit. Which again is kind of shocking. He's got 65 laps right now on those tires. Putting down good lap times for being out there 65 laps. But once again, every time around the speedway, he's losing quite a bit of time there to that 05 of Rickard. Rickard's last lap was a 28.2. Hoffman with the 29.0. And we know that difference was a lot bigger here early on in this run. He was gaining over a second, so now he's gaining about 0.8 or so. So that's going to move Trey Jackson, currently in the 2nd spot. He hasn't pit either yet. So we're going to see what the 5 car there Jackson's got for us as the 9 of Kreit sitting in the 3rd spot. The ladies' man's brother, Gavin Salyer, earlier he was holding on strong the battle for last, currently sitting in the 4th position. And then rounding out the top 5, Nate Lynch there on the alternate strategy. We're going to see how it works out there for the 25 as he lets the 05 of Rickard go by. So Scott Rickard continues to be the first car here that has pit this final time. He's good to go on fuel. So everybody in front of Rickard does have to pit still. So we see Hoffman there. He's about 3/4 of a lap ahead of Rickard. And once again, he's still got a pit. So Rickard's going to have quite a big advantage here once he pits. Hoffman looks to be looking towards the bottom. Maybe he's thinking of coming down soon. You're going to let the 36 by. Going to continue to roll, though, as we pull up the pit strategy board again. 68, coming to 69 laps on those tires. I'm not sure how much longer he can go out there on fuel. So Opel going to unlap himself. That's going to make 10 cars on the lead lap. Tom Ogle had a good start to this race, but boy, it's really fallen through the cracks here later on. Looking at lap times, last lap around the speedway for Hoffman was a 29.5. Rickard putting down a 28.4, so over a second every single lap, folks. That adds up quick. Just think, you know, Rickard's been out there about 20 laps on these fresher tires. Let's pull it up here. Looking there at the board, you see Rickard 22 laps on these fresher tires opposed to Hoffman. So again, Hoffman going to gain some serious ground once he pits, but he's going to have a lot of ground to make up. As we're coming down to the nitty-gritty here, there's only about 27 laps to go this time by. I mean, certainly there's no way these guys can make it on fuel another 30 laps. That'd be almost 100 laps. But you never know. Not sure what's going on here with our race leaders. Our top three cruising around here on these old junk tires here. Hutchinson Motorsports TV, world's #1 streaming service, folks. We say it every single week. We're going to say it to you again. Be sure to like and subscribe to the page because, folks, we're the world's #1 streaming service. And I tell you what, you need to quit wasting your money on junk streaming services because all you need, it's right here. It's free. It's Hutchinson Motorsports TV.
The best in the world.
Welcome back, Jesse, as Hoffman continues to stay out there. I mean, we're down to 25 laps left to go. I'm not sure what's going through his head right now.
He really is not hit yet.
No, and there's no way he could make it on fuel. I mean, by the time we get done with this run, I mean, he's going to have, let's see, right now he's got 73 laps on this. He's getting about 100 laps. I mean, I just don't see it possible, but we'll see how this keeps going.
The 05 of Scott Rickard's only 20 seconds back. By the time the 15 pits and comes back out, Rickard's going to be half a track ahead.
Maybe we're wrong on this pit. I mean, on the fuels here. I mean, I hope he's got enough to make it. Otherwise, this strategy makes 0 sense for the 15. But who knows? Maybe somehow he can make it 100 laps on fuel.
If he can do that, that'll be absolutely incredible. I don't see it happening, though.
I mean, once again, we don't know how much fuel these guys can hold, but I would be shocked if it's enough for that. But here comes, looks like Nate Lynch coming down pit road. And, you know, Lynch pit 6 laps after our race leader on that second caution there after the restart. So there's a sign for you right there. If Lynch can't make it on fuel, then I don't see a way that Hoffman can.
If he's able to pull off the impossible here, kudos to him.
I don't either. And once he comes down pit road, he's basically ran out of time. I mean, I would probably fire my crew chief if this is how it happens, because this was honestly his race to win. All he had to do was come down pit road earlier on.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure on who's pit and who was not. It looks like Hoffman, Jackson, and Kreitz. All three of those guys have maybe stayed out so far during this run.
Yep.
Rickard, I know for sure, has come down pit road. Now he's only 19 seconds back.
Yeah, you know, he's reeling them in here. Looks like it's actually the amount's fallen off. It was about a second a lap. Now it's down to about a half a second or so. But still, just think every time around the speedway, just chipping away to a half a second to a second off the race lead.
Hoffman's going to have to come down pit road, get tires, and start laying down absolute heaters of laps to be able to hopefully catch back up to these guys.
I mean, there's
20 I agreed with this strategy earlier, but, you know, as I was saying, he still had plenty of time to catch back up to them. Now it's getting into the crunch time. There's 20 laps left to go in this race. He doesn't have the time he had before.
Yeah, you know, and once again, we know he hasn't pit yet here since this last stop, so he's definitely 100% has this 78 laps right now on those tires.
I wouldn't have even thought they could have made it 78 laps on fuel.
I honestly didn't either. I was kind of thinking it'd be in the 60s or something, but again, every week I don't know how much fuel's in the car. I kind of wish there was a way to figure that out before.
That would be good information to know.
Yeah, maybe in future.
Yeah,
in the future, maybe that's something we'll look into, so we're not fully in the dark up here. But maybe Hoffman knows something we don't, and this works out for him. But I don't know. I'm shocked right now.
Every lap that he goes by and he does not turn down pit road, I begin to question more and more if he can actually make it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we're starting to run out of time here. Maybe he can make it with just, what, less than 20 laps left to go. We got 17 to go. I feel like he's got to have a shot to make it to still be out there, but it just doesn't make sense here to me if Nate Lynch pit when he pit 6 laps after Hoffman.
Yeah, 17 laps to go. And Scott Rickard 17 seconds back. If the 15 does have to potentially start saving fuel, if he can make it to the end, there's a chance the 0-5 can reel him back in. You also got to worry about the 2 guys behind the 15, the 5 and the 9 of Trey Jackson and Zach Kreitz. What's their fuel situation? Are they going to be able to stay out there, find a top 5 with this insane strategy?
Yeah, you know, I mean, in my mind, there's multiple cars that's still out there, so maybe it is possible they can make it. But again, I'm kind of surprised more guys didn't try it then.
Christian Taylor in the chat, providing the stats. NASCAR Cup, according to Google, is 98 laps on the tank at Phoenix, but that's with a full tank. As far as our understanding is, these guys aren't supposed to have a full tank.
That's good information, Christian. So, I mean, that's with 100% fuel, which I seriously doubt these guys have. Even if there was 100% fuel, I don't know if he could still even make it. What'd you say, 97 laps?
Yeah, 98 laps, and I'm going to look into the rules here.
Yeah, it'd be 97 laps on the dot, I believe, if Hoffman somehow gets to the checkered flag.
Let's see if I can find any information for us on the fuel that goes into these cars. I don't see. It's 100% fuel in this one.
Okay, well, I don't know if that's normal. I feel like it's not, so it must have been a mishap. So maybe there is a shot here that Hoffman can make it.
According to the rule book, 100% fuel for these cars. Hoffman has a shot.
Yeah, so maybe we've been wrong the whole time. Hoffman knew something we didn't.
What do we know? We're just in the booth.
Yeah, who knows? We're just up here winging it. So whole time we've been questioning Hoffman's strategy, but actually, I mean, he's going to make it on fuel, it appears. So looks like it's his race to win here with just 13 laps left to go.
Yeah, and right now, lap time's still about half a second a lap difference between Rickard and the 15 of Hoffman. Not enough time if the lap times stay where they're at.
Yeah, no, and it's been that way for a while, about half a second every lap. So Rickard's kind of fallen off a little bit. He was gaining over a second, but not anymore. So unless there's a caution or somehow Hoffman doesn't make it, it looks like this is his race to win.
How many laps has it been since Hoffman came down pit road?
Pulling it up here, it has been 85 laps.
So he's got to make it 12 more laps. He's literally
be right on
going to be on the edge of that fuel window. If he has to save even a little bit, Rickard still has a shot.
You know, and my guess is he's probably already good on fuel, or he would have pit by now. I mean, I feel like he would have already saved what he needed to save. But you never know here. Let's hop on board, see if he's doing anything special here, trying to save in the car. Not holding the clutch there, heading into the corner, going down the back stretch now. Let's see what he does through 3 and 4. And no clutch, not turning off the car or anything, just kind of cruising around there, staying in 4th gear. 4th gear all the way around the track almost, I believe.
Doesn't seem to be trying anything special to save some fuel, so the 15 might have this thing locked up. As Trey Jackson in the 5, he might have enough. He should have enough fuel as well, but he's 10 seconds back, 9.7 according to the last lap.
Yeah, you know, this the only thing I don't understand. You know, those guys that pit 6 laps after our race leader, I don't get why any of them would have came down pit road during that green flag run, but nonetheless, so we got 10 laps left to go. Hoffman, your race leader, has a 9-second gap on Jackson and a 12.5-second gap on Rickard.
Yeah, absolute great run for the 15. I feel like if he would have came down and pit with the other guys, he had enough speed to probably still come away with this win. He's still going to try to get it done, though, on this alternate strategy.
Down the backstretch, somebody almost junked it, able to save it. Didn't see who that was. Somebody was swerving all over the place, but we're still green.
Yeah, we'll see if we have a phantom caution with 8 laps to go here to stack things back up. If not, Hoffman looking to run away with it. Rickard might be able to get to the 5 car for second place. He might have enough time to do that here with 8 laps to go.
It definitely seems that way. You know, he's gaining still about a half a second or so on Trey Jackson there in second. So he should have plenty of time to get to the second spot. But, you know, for Rickard, he's not racing for a championship here. It's really a win or a bust in his mind, I bet.
Yeah, but the main storyline tonight, the championship race, championship hopeful Grimm, what is that? Dylan Grimm out of the race very early on. The championship, who will be the championship winner, Josh Robinson, 12 laps down due to a connection issue. Neither of those drivers looking to win this thing. So Hoffman going to come home with it. It'll be his 3rd win on the season and should be enough to get him into 3rd place in the final standings.
You know, coming into this race, if somebody would have told me there was going to be 19 cars entered and your top 2 in points, Robinson and Grimm, would get 17th and 19th, I would have lost a lot of money.
That would have been incredible betting odds.
Most definitely. But let's hop on board here with your race leader, kind of doing some funky things there down the straightaway. Getting that thing back rolling here on the front stretch. Heading into turn 1. I mean, hell, in my mind, he's
still just driving along.
You know, and he's staying in 4th gear. So, I mean, honestly, if you were in full fuel-saving mode, you'd want to be in a higher gear, right? You'd be in 5th gear, maybe holding the clutch, doing something, but he's just cruising around in 4th gear.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how much the gear really helps in iRacing or if it's just based off of the throttle input, but for him to still be running 29.5s with, you know, getting close to 100 laps on his tires, he's not lifting off that throttle any, in my opinion.
You know, it's honestly impressive because Rickard's running 29.1s, and his tires are, let's see, how much fresher? About 50 laps fresher than Hoffman there in the 15.
Yeah, Christian Taylor in the chat saying Hoffman is a tire-saving god. I don't think you're wrong on that because he's put on a master class here as we're getting to, I believe, 4 laps to go, 3 laps to go here. Still 8 seconds ahead. Rickard closing in on that 2nd spot, but he has no chance of getting to Hoffman.
Yeah, you know, to me, it looks like Hoffman's lifting early, so he doesn't have to worry about shifting up into 5th gear, in which that'll help him save a little extra fuel because you're off the throttle longer.
Just that little bit extra could be enough for us to see a burnout here at the end, but I think he's going to be good to make it.
Yeah, you know, it's always interesting, you know, up here in the booth, we would have thought there was no way he could make it on fuel, but what do we know? We were wrong. Hoffman was right. I was calling for the head of Hoffman's crew chief saying he needed fired, but what do I know? Dylan Hoffman getting the job done. 2.5 laps left to go here, Phoenix.
Absolutely. He's running into the sunset with it. We've got a battle brewing for a second here. It'll be interesting to see if the 5 can be caught by the 0.5 here, running down the laps. Can he have enough to keep that 2nd spot?
As we're on board with the GOAT Scott Rickard, he's shifting down to 3rd gear in the corners. How about that? You don't see that too often.
That's a crazy move, but if that's one way to get extra turn out of the car, you might as well do it.
You know, it is interesting. I honestly don't even know if this is a fixed setup league or not. I don't really know any of the rules here, not going to lie, but looks like everybody's running in the 4th gear, so I think Rickard wanted to try that 3rd gear, one corner. Looks like it didn't work out for him as we're coming to the white flag this time by.
Hoffman gonna win this race, no questions asked. Robinson locking the championship up. All we've got to do is finish just a few more corners here.
Yes, sir, heading down the backstretch for the final time in the turns 3 and 4. The 15 car, Dylan Hoffman out of Asheboro, North Carolina, wins it at Phoenix.
Absolutely. The battle for 2nd place. The 5 of Trey Jackson going to hold on to that. The 05 of Rickard bringing home 3rd.
And how about this rebound for that 11 of Tom Ogle, taking home the 4th spot, boy. It looked like a nightmare for him there in the middle of that last run as he struggled to get around the track. Works back up to 4th.
He was definitely the favorite. You know, we're looking at 15, 20 laps into this race. He was running away with it. Those cautions did end up messing with the 11, kind of set him back a little bit.
Definitely so. So Dylan Hoffman getting the job done, you know, against the broadcaster's thoughts. You know, we both thought he was pulling a bad move, but apparently not. He had the fuel to do it. So we're going to watch him do a burnout here.
We definitely were crucifying the 15 for his decision making, but he had enough fuel. We'll see if he can get us a good burnout, or if that was it.
Well,
He might have just ran out of fuel.
I
right
think he
there.
just ran out of fuel. Yep, parking it on victory lane. That tells you right there what you need to know. Out of fuel on the dot. So let's take out the chat. And once again, folks, remember Josh Robinson goes back to back, wins the Stars and Stripes Next Gen season number 10 here, folks. Josh Robinson getting it done. So let's see.
He's taking him a victory lap right now.
Yeah, while Hoffman's out of fuel, we'll go ahead and keep our eyes on this 30 car. So who should we pull in first, our race winner or our points winner?
Let's go ahead and do the race winner.
All right, we'll get him in here, Dylan Hoffman. Dylan, Blake, and Jesse up in the booth. You got us?
I got you.
What a win here. Win number 3 on the season. You know, whenever that cycle started, we didn't think you'd have enough for fuel, but you proved us wrong, and you were able to bring it home to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be close, but I knew I was the best tire saver in the field tonight and a lot of other nights throughout the season, and finally got a real long run that paid off.
You absolutely did a fantastic job saving tires. I mean, I think you could have went down pit road and still come out and won this thing, but you stayed out. We had so much doubt up here in the booth that you could make it. Did you have to do anything special to try to save fuel, or did you just know that you were able to get to the end?
I really didn't. I focused so much on saving tire on the first 10, 15 laps of a run, and I feel like I saved so well early that I was able to just roll the corner a lot better later in the race, and that paid off. But yeah, I was definitely nervous midway through the run, but shout out my buddy Jack spotted for me and was helping him fuel mileage and stuff, so that paid off.
You know, it has to feel good here heading into the last race of the season, even though you weren't able to pull off the championship. That's probably will catapult you into about maybe the 3rd position here to finish off the year.
Yeah, I might be able to catch Grim. I don't know. I knew I needed to win and dominate, and that's what I did to have a chance at all. But 3rd should be good. And yeah, I've a couple races early in the playoffs. I pitted early and then got caught a lap down, and it kind of sent me to the back of the pack. So I decided tonight I was just going to run it long and not risk that, and it paid off.
Yeah, definitely paid off for you, bringing home the win. Jesse, you got anything for him?
Nothing but congratulations. You put on a masterclass of tire saving and fuel strategy. Good job.
I appreciate it, man. It was a good time and a good run and a good way to end the season.
Yes, sir. Hey, before you head out, you got any shout-outs or anything to add before we finish off the season?
Yeah, Mom and Dad watching back home. Like I said, Buddy Jack spotted for me tonight in the last few weeks. He's huge help. Shout out to him. And then the guys put on the league. It was a good season, good time, and good into it.
Yes, sir. Hey, Dylan, you plan on running the Indy 500 next week?
I don't believe so. I am as much of a fuel saver as I am and tire saver in the next gen. I am not very familiar and good with the IndyCar, but who knows? We might, but not planning on it right now.
Hell, I say you get out there, give it a shot.
I might have to after tonight. The confidence boost. I might just throw it out there and see what happens.
Yeah, why not? Well, hey, congratulations, Dylan. Pulling off the win to finish off this season. Congratulations.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Dylan Hoffman bringing home the win here at Phoenix, folks. But we got one more interview to do. Pulling in the season championship back-to-back for him. It's Josh Robinson in the 30. Let's get him in here. Josh, Blake, and Jesse up here in the booth. You got us?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
I'm doing good, but not as good as you. You know, the connection issues had to be scary. But fortunately for you, Grim had issues early on and brought home a last-place finish.
Yeah, that, you know, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I seen Dylan have some issues early on up on my high side there, and then I was joking with my team. I've been doing this for 7-8 years now. I have never had a power outage during doing a race, and sure enough, happens on championship night.
Yeah, you have to be thinking there, like, thank God that Grim had his mistake earlier, or else that power outage would have sealed your fate. But it was sealed pretty on that you were going to win this thing, so that had to be at least a good side of things.
It was really comforting knowing that as I was scrounging around to turn my computer back on as fast as I possibly could, that was a little bit more comforting. But then I started to get a little nervous that Scott and Dylan Hoffman were not that far back, and they were running 1-2 for a while, and I was like, uh-oh.
Doing some math in your head, trying to figure out if they had a shot or not.
100%. I was giving them every bonus point, and then
Yeah, well, hey, it definitely worked out for you. You know, me and Jesse were kind of concerned there for Hoppin. We didn't think he'd be able to make it on fuel, but he proved us wrong and was able to bring home a win here to finish off the year.
Yeah, he was doing really good. This car, I'm sure the guys were telling you in the in cars and stuff, but man, was this car violently loose for about 75% of the run. Uh, and that's just on a normal fuel run. And being that he was able to stretch it that far, I was kind of behind him there at the end, and I could tell that he was he was having some issues because man, it's so hard to drive this car at this track when you got four fresh tires, yet alone a right rear that's on fire.
Yeah, I can definitely bet that. But hey, you're going back to back. How much were you thinking your chances were to pull off back to back points championships here in the Stars and Stripes Racing League?
There is so much talent in this league that I I was surprised to even be a contention at the end. My year started off pretty rough. It seemed like if there was a wreck, I had a magnet to it. So I was actually just hopeful to get into the playoffs at one point, and then it just seemed that I had all my bad luck at the start of the season, and the last 5 6 races could not have went better for me. I actually even had a VR problem at Bristol that somehow, by some miracle, worked to my favor. So I, I'm not even feeling like I earned it. I'm feeling that I'm really, really, really lucky tonight.
Hey, well, it's all part of it. All evens out in the wash, the luck and the skill. But hey, we were talking about next season. It's going to be the first time ever where we rotate cars. Can you remember the car options? I know there was IndyCar, ARCA, and I can't remember the others.
Yeah, we're gonna run Indy. We're gonna run the new Arca. We're gonna run some Xfinity as well. Probably 5 5 and 5. I think 4 times 5 on the car sits there because we do the Lynches do a 20 race season. Should be really fun. I'm excited for that. I've never done an IndyCar race other than for fun, so I don't know if that's going to be complete carnage. I don't know if that's going to be absolutely awesome racing, but one thing I'm for sure of is it's going to make some really good broadcast views.
Yeah,
Is there
guys
a car you're most excited for?
I like this car for some reason, and I know I'm one of the few that likes it, but I think it caters to my driving style.
I'm
Uh,
with you,
I,
bud.
I don't know if I'm excited for any of them more so than the others. I think just in general, I think the IndyCar is going to be abnormal to us, and that's just going to add to the fun.
And, I can definitely see that. And it's going to be interesting to see how these guys, everybody's got that one car that's kind of their weakness. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see once those rides come around, how many points they give up or can save.
No, it should be fun. I've yet to drive the new Arca car, so hopefully I don't know if you guys have driven that yet. Hopefully that's a good car.
Yeah, it should be a good time. But hey, congratulations once again. Before you head out, do you know what you're going to do with your winnings here tonight?
I'm really fiscally conservative, but the one thing that I have noticed with the iRacing graphical updates over the last couple months is that, man, are they demanding on the computer now? So we're about due for a new processor. That 9800 X3D has my name on it.
Oh, well, good to know. Congratulations. Before you head out, you got any shout outs or anything to add for us?
Absolutely. Thanks to everyone in the league. It's the quality of racing here has been really good over the past couple seasons, and it just you look forward to running on Thursday nights. Thanks to Brian and to Nate for all the work they put into keeping the all the behind scenes work, posting the points, just every little thing. Just it takes time, and those guys are taking time away from their families to put this league on for us. So thank you to them. Thanks to everyone over at I think Tom calls us Team Spite. So Tom Ogle, Andrew Hess, Brian Lynch, Nate Lynch, every every one of those guys. We spend the entirety of practice bouncing ideas off of each other. Like tonight have you tried fifth gear all the way around the track? Have you tried shifting here, bouncing master cylinders? I think at the end of practice, we had so many ideas that we actually didn't know what to do. So it might have actually hurt tonight, but it's always good to have people to bounce your random ideas off of.
Most definitely. Now, before you head out, Jesse, you got anything for our points champion here?
I just want to say congrats on winning the title. I'm sure you weren't expecting it to be winning it from 17th on the field and the opponent from 19th, but a win is a win. A championship is a championship. So congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys. Look forward to going back and watching me disappear, and look forward to next season. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, sir. You too. Congratulations, Josh. So there's Josh Robinson in the 30 car getting it done. Back-to-back seasons. He brings home the championship. You heard from him. He's going to spend his winnings. He's already got a plan. He's going to upgrade his PC, get a little better processor. Looking forward to next season.
I can tell you, I don't know what the price is for that CPU, but I'm sure his winnings are not going to be the majority of that. So it's going to be a big upgrade for him. My processor's in there in its case sweating right now, thinking about what that 9800 X3D can do. But I want to ask you one thing. Are you looking forward to next week doing that Indy 500? I met you as a dirt guy. You've done dirt broadcasts. You've done mainly NASCAR broadcasts. You've never broadcasted an open wheel car, I don't think, have you?
I'm trying to think back. I know back in the day we had an IndyCar series, but no, I can't remember of any open wheel IndyCar races. So no, I honestly think this will be my first Indy broadcast.
Well, hopefully it won't be too different. I know I've never done one either, and I'm not super familiar with the cars, but I'm going to try to learn up as much as I can coming in next week. Maybe have some good info.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I think the only problem, it's going to be harder to see the numbers, so maybe it's going to be harder to identify who's who, but I think we'll figure it out, and if not, we got 500 laps to do it, so it's going to be fun time. We're going to be out here, I bet, 3.5, 4 hours. I have no clue how long it's going to take those cars to go 500 miles, but nonetheless, we're going to be here. I believe we're starting
a marathon.
Pretty much. We're going to be starting 30 minutes earlier than usual. That's going to be 8 Central, 9 Eastern next week here. Thursday night, the Stars and Stripes Indy 500 race. We're going to have it live right here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV. Have 3 of us in the broadcast booth. Me, Jesse here, and also Christian Taylor. But folks, before we head out, once again, please click that like button and at least subscribe to the page. Really helps us out. We'd appreciate it. And we appreciate you guys coming out here for Thursday night. And a big shout out here to Jesse Becker joining me in the booth. Jesse, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely. If you're out there watching, let your friends know you want to come watch the greatest streaming service on all of the internet. It's right here, Hutchinson Motorsports. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, show us some support, and we'll catch you next time.
Yes, sir.